Hello, I'm Tatiana Kolganova from Brunel University, London. Welcome to my series of lectures on philosophical underpinning of principles applied to research process. In previous lectures, we were talking quite a lot about research processes and its analysis based on research papers. We never touch and explain what is it. And this lecture is exactly about considering research process. What other main steps are looked at and what other main points you need to look at. So, our aim of this lecture is to understand the principles of research process. What are the main steps? And as a result, in your learning outcomes, you will learn what needs to be focused when you're doing research on your own. Before starting, as usual, you need to have in front of you high-quality research papers on state of art, on literature review, free journal papers in your area, as well think about your dissertation or recently completed project. When we start to do work, the first thing we need to do it is what is our aim? Or differently, I could rephrase this, what is our research question? Research question is the key to our doing research. One project will always have only one aim. One project will always have only one research question. That's why before you start to do work, you need to phrase the aim of your work, research question, clearly so that you could design your process very well. Once you have your research question, the first thing when you started to do is to generate hypotheses. To develop a specific hypothesis that must be tested in your work. So it should be more detailed and focused on research question. They need to support research question, something that you'll need to test to make sure that the research question works well. Once we have a hypothesis, we know what specific hypothesis we need to look at, what specific parameters which we need to look, what other criteria which we need to have a look. We know what will involve in our research. We started to look in research design. What does mean research design? Is basically you need to start to choose the design approach that will be suited the best to answer your particular question. Remember, we're trying to answer a research question which is supported by hypothesis. In reality, you are trying to answer, support or not support every particular hypothesis you identify. The most important things, and it's the major mistake of quite a lot of students when we started to do their research first, the question should guide the design, not vice versa. In our case, we are looking first on the question and we understand what necessary needs to be done to answer this particular question. If you will be started to think about your project in this particular direction, you will know what exactly is needed to do. And if you understand what exactly needed to be done, what will be happening next? You will be very powerful and strong to explain me why you're doing this, and you will do very faster to find answers for this question. And this is one of the most important stages of your process, because this is where you make decision how you are going to do research. The next step, once we know what we are going to do for our research, we know that we need to do the data collection and data analysis, we start to work on this. We start to do this. We started to do data collections. We need to start to use data collection and monitoring mechanism which will help allow us to find this data. The most important things which we need to start to have a look is what errors potentially can occur when we do data collection, what concentration which we need to do this. The problem is, if we haven't concentrated on this stage very well, we will have very poor data. And if we have very poor data, we will have very bad result. If we have very bad results, can we very well answer this question? Most likely no. And as a result, the additional research needed to complete this work. That's why you need to make sure that when you do the data collections, first, the data are objective as much as possible in your area. Secondly, you need to make sure and plan in such case so that the errors could be minimized as much as possible and validated. Results can be validated at early stage as possible. Once we've done our data collection and we have our data in front of us, the next step which we need to do is analysis and interference of the data. When we are looking on our data, we need to start to understand what the data bring. We can visualize them, we can do statistical analysis and algorithmic bits, we can start to understand the performance. But the result of our analysis interfering, it comes a descriptive statement. This descriptive statement is actually conclusion in our research paper. And the only what is answering is trying to draw conclusion based on our research process. Most importantly, if we draw the project based on our research question, our conclusion, our descriptive statement must answer our research question. This is the reason why when we started to look on our research papers, what you do first? Read the title. What you do next? Read conclusion. Because what you want to do, you want to know what is research question. And secondly, you need to know what is descriptive statement. Once we've done this process, what can we do next? Next, we can start to generate the new questions. And these new questions are arriving from analysis. Based on the analysis, some new questions can be emerged, some directions can be opened that you can do. And this new research question could lead to complete the same another research process, which may lead to completely different results. Can you see, if you follow this research process, the research process allows us to do two main things. First, answer our research question using our conclusion. And secondly, most importantly, it will provide us what next can be investigated and looked at. Now, we know everything about research process, we understood the importance of this, and what elements we can draw out of this once it's successfully completed. What we can do now, we can open our research papers, which you have in front of you, and try to draw for me and visualize each process which has been done in research paper. Remember, one research paper is one research process. Cannot be differently. So, if I come back to my previous slide, I can see that based on my chosen paper, can I write research question? Yes. Can I write hypothesis if you have one? Yes. Can you see how they plan this? What they usage? Yes. Data, what data we've been using? Yes. Analysis? Yes. Some of these elements we were doing already, but we were structured in a slightly different way. We were not looking how conclusion will answer the question. The most interesting part, if you will visualize the information from your paper, you could clearly see if there are any correlation between them. And something that you haven't done before, you could start to define the future directions and questions which you have a look. Could be highlighted in the paper. So, when you start to look on a structure of a paper, you will find that most of the papers are structured very similar way in your research area. For example, if you have 3 research papers which you choose for and you start to have a look at, so most of them will be following the scientific method of approaching this. First, we will start with idea or theory. After then, we devise investigation to test the theory, carry out investigation, and if results do not support the theory, think of a new one. Once we start to look at this, we would like to have a plan for investigation. What can we do? We can define the general hypothesis first. We can specify objectives of a study. We can design the study, what we actually need to be. It's our research design. Remember our previous slide? We can carry out the study and collect the data, analyze the data, draw conclusions, and publish results. Our plan is very similar to what we are doing with scientific paper. If you open your paper, you most likely found summary or abstract, introduction, literature review. Sometimes introduction and literature review, they combine together, but still they will have distinctive parts in your research paper. It will be methods, results, discussion, and conclusions. Majority of papers in research area, in science, they will be looking in this direction. What is important and what is interesting, our plan of investigation is matches our layout of a paper. Look, When we say that we want to define the research question, the first thing which you need to do is you need to do literature review and prove that research question is actual and necessary. There is a novelty in this. You define the hypothesis, you will write them in introduction, something that you are planning to do. You define specific objectives, you will clearly state them in introduction. Design the study, carry out the study, collect the data. All this will be clearly stated in the methods part. Analysis of results will get to the result and experimental results part. Draw conclusions could get through discussion or summary and conclusion. Can you see that plan of investigation very well map the plan of a paper? What does it mean? It means while you are doing your research, you could already start to write your research paper. Very often, everyone is saying, I will write my research paper once I finish my investigations. But if you start to follow your investigation and map your investigation and write it down in the form of a paper, you will surprise how many detailed elements you might not consider if you haven't wrote this. Having this and doing this in parallel will make your research process stronger, more focused, and you will achieve more effective results. Now, again, you have a project in mind. You've done dissertation previously. Can you draw the research plan for your project? Can you map what is necessary to do? Can you summarize this? In conclusion, what I just explained to you, I explained to you the method of the research process, what has been done, and I was looking for you from a Mrzykiewicz point of view. But what is important, based on this analysis, now you have all tools and all power to create your own research method. Hopefully, if you were doing all exercises I was giving you, whatever too small or too big they were during the course, you may find out surprisingly that by now you will be able to bring your own opinion, your own critical view on the science exist in your area. Hope you enjoy this course and you found this very useful. Thank you for watching. Bye.